Hello, 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 and welcome to another Verbling live class. This is a TOEFL class, TOEFL speaking preparation. My name's Hamish. Very good to welcome you all. And yeah, today we're going to continue in our preparation for, especially on parts 1 and parts 2 of the speaking section of the TOEFL exam. We're going to look at some good strategies to prepare for the speaking section of the TOEFL exam. And I'm going to make sure that you're going to have some good practice as well for the speaking section. But yeah, let's focus on parts, questions 1 and 2 today. And yeah, let's see who we have this morning. Oh, that's good to see you all here. Good morning. Well, I say good morning. Good morning from me. Anastasia, how are you today? Are you there, Anastasia? I can't hear you. I will wait till you're ready. 1 second. Abdulaziz, how are you?
I'm fine.
Tell me, and where? Oh, that's better. And where are you today? I'm having a bit of trouble hearing you as well. Let me see. Maybe, hopefully it's not me, but I will move on. 1 second. Danny, hi, hello.
Hi, do you hear me?
I can hear you, Danny. There you go.
Okay.
First of the day. Danny, tell me, where are you?
I'm from Italy.
Oh, Italy. Oh, right. Okay. So, what is it? Lunchtime, early afternoon with you?
Yes, it's I hear other voices.
I'll check. But it's definitely you I'm speaking to right now. All right. Yeah, it's about 2 in the afternoon, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And tell me, is it still winter with you, or has spring begun? Has spring begun? What's the weather like with you in Italy?
Today it's not spring.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Really? Okay. Still quite cold. It's yeah, it's pretty nice here in Tennessee in the American South, but you're right, it's not spring yet. We've still got a little bit of snow to get through. Okay, well, very good to meet you, Dan. Diego, hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm pretty good. And yes, tell me, Diego, how was your weekend?
Very quiet. Easy.
Okay. I like that kind of weekend as well. I was going to wash my car this weekend, but it rained. It rained every second here in Tennessee, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But it's okay. That's okay. But good to meet you. Hey, Gabriela Garcia, how are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine. Thank you.
Excellent. Gabriela, and where are you?
I'm in Colombia.
In Colombia, yes, of course.
Yes.
Of course, we've spoken before. Now tell me, and how's the weather in Colombia these days?
Oh well, especially my city is really warm. we have a lot of humidity here.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And do you like it when it's warm?
Well, to be honest, I really don't like it because I sweat a lot and it's unbearable the weather.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's difficult, and I know in
Yes.
some parts of the United States that they have this dry heat, this sort of desert heat, and that's one thing. But then when people come to a state like Tennessee, it's that humidity again. It can be very strong, very intense, especially in the cities, and yeah, it makes it feel even hotter than it really is. So. Well, that's not much fun. Well, hopefully we'll have a cool inside lesson, and so it won't be too hot.
Okay.
Johnny or Hanio, hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. This morning. It's my first conversation with anyone today. It's so early, so I'm very glad to be speaking to you all. Danny, tell me, are you planning to take the TOEFL exam soon, or do you just want to practice your English today?
Yeah, I'm here to practice my English because I'm just a beginner and I'm still learning how to listen and speak with people.
All right. Well, you're in the right place. That
And
sounds really good. Very good to meet you. Yes.
nice to meet you.
Let's see. Gianfranco Castro, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you absolutely fine. Very good sound. Thank you very much. You must have an excellent microphone. That's why I like to hear. Gianfranco, tell me, where are you?
I'm from Concepcion, which is located in Chile.
Oh, well, Chile, very nice, very nice.
Yes.
And so tell me, are you planning to take the TOEFL exam, or are you planning to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
tell
this
me.
Friday.
No way! Fantastic, fantastic.
Yes, so I have to practice.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. You know, the more preparation, the more practice, I believe, the more successful, and the better your score. Absolutely. Tell me why? Why are you taking the TOEFL this Friday?
I need to get a visa to go to the UK.
Okay.
In the frame of an internship. So I need to meet B2 requirements.
Okay.
To get to apply for a visa.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned an internship. What is it that you're? I mean, what are you wanting to do in the UK?
Okay, I'm a PhD student, so I'm going to spend about 10 months in a center to do part of my research there.
Okay. Goodness me. And so where in the UK are you going?
I'm going to Norwich, which is located 2 hours east from London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's it's going to be different there. But you know what? I know, and of course, you know, you go there for the you know, to study and do the research, but also, of course, a different culture, and I think that's always exciting. Yes, absolutely. And I can tell you. Let's see. So you mentioned you're going to Norwich. Pronunciation, by the way, for this one, we're going to pretend that there's no W. We'll pretend there's no W, and so we'll just say
Norwich.
Yeah, Norwich. Okay. Like that. Yeah. And that's all you need, really. You're fine now.
Thank you.
Got the W. Well, very good to meet you. Very good to meet you, Gianfranco. And
nice to meet you too.
We'll make sure you get some good practice this morning. Fantastic. Oh, let me see. Okay, just some last people to say hello to. Pavel, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Are you planning on taking the TOEFL exam, or do you just want to practice your English here?
Yes, it can turn out in such way that I will have to pass the exam. Oh, sorry, please.
Okay. I'll come back to you, Pavel. Okay. Sarah or Sarah, how are you today? Sarah, oh, hello there. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm pretty good. Sarah, tell me, where are you?
I'm from Yemen.
Can you tell me again? I'm sorry.
But then?
Oh, I didn't hear you, so I'm sorry. Where are you from?
I'm from Yemen.
Yemen. Okay, thank you. I didn't hear you the first time. I'm sorry. Are you planning on taking the TOEFL exam?
I dream to take the IBT exam in the near future.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're in the right place. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
No problem at all. Let's see. Now, oh my, I can't say your name because it's in Arabic, so I can't do that. Now, if you can see your picture, maybe you could say hello to me on the screen. Oh, I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to wait for you to oh, and there's another one there. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. Now, tell me what's your name, please?
First, my name is Muhammad.
Muhammad. Okay. Hello to you.
I live in Dubai, in UAE.
Okay.
Now I'm studying dental surgery, and I'm looking for taking the master degree. So I am now. I want to prepare myself to take the TOEFL.
Mm-hmm.
So
Where do you want, Mohammed? Where do you want to go to continue your studies?
now I'm searching maybe in US or UK, but it's very costly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking if there's any scholarship or something like that for
Sure.
the international student.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Okay, well, welcome to the class, and we'll make sure you get some practice here this morning. And of course, lots of students practicing here in this class, so we'll do some good listening and some good speaking as well. But yeah, very good to meet you, Mohammed. Nice one. All right, okie dokie.
I'm back.
Oh, yes, you're right. We hadn't finished with you, Pavel, have we?
Yeah. I wanted to say that I'm not going to have the TOEFL exam anytime soon, but it can be so because my intention to learn English is to expand my professional area, so to say. If I work now as a as a lawyer in the local in the local assets. Maybe I will be able to work with some international companies too.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. I like that. Nice one. Okay, I'm glad we were able to finish our introduction together. Welcome to the class. Let's get started. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Oh yes, the speaking section. The speaking section of the TOEFL exam. Some students find this the most difficult. Other students, of course, maybe they'll find the writing section the most difficult. But either way, it's very important to practice your English speaking for this exam, and very important to prepare your strategy and your approach, and to practice the kinds of questions and the kinds of answers you want to give in the speaking section, because I absolutely believe, and I've helped a lot of students prepare successfully for TOEFL, I absolutely believe it's half about your English skills, and the other half is about your preparation and your practice and your understanding of really what the TOEFL exam is all about, and the kind of skills and techniques they want to see from you. And of course, the TOEFL exam is really supposed to be yes, a test of your English, but also a test of your communicative ability in a North American or in a British university or academic setting, to make sure that you can have the kind of conversations and use the kind of speech that you'll need to be successful at an American school or college. So if you do well in the TOEFL exam, you should consider that a very good omen or a very good sign for whatever you're doing, whether you're continuing studies or whether you want to exercise a profession in the United States. For example, if someone is a pharmacist and they want to go to the United States and they have all their qualifications, they'll still need a TOEFL score in order to practice pharmacy in the US. So there can be a few different reasons why you need to take this exam. Most people, I would say, it's because they are they want to continue their studies at a higher level at an American or perhaps at a British school. But yes, well, we can certainly help, whatever the reason. Absolutely. The speaking section. How many parts in the speaking section? Who can tell me? How many bits in the speaking section of TOEFL?
It consists of 6 questions.
Jeff, yes, okay. 6 sections. And can you give me an idea? What's the difference between the 6 sections?
Okay. The first questions ask you about personal opinions.
Okay.
The next 2 questions, you have to first read a small passage, a small text, and then listen a conversation. And the final part, you have to be able to summarize a lecture
Mm-hmm.
and then answer the question. Oh, well, in all of those questions, you have to answer a question.
Sure. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now you mentioned listening to a lecture. That sounds like a big thing. For questions 5 and 6, and you know, we're listening. How long? I mean, how long is the listening part? Do you have to listen to a long lecture?
Listening part of the lecture.
Yeah. Is it a long lecture or a short lecture?
No, it's short. It's a short lecture, but people speak very quick.
I bet they do. They do. That's very true.
So you have to take a lot of notes in order to give a complete answer.
Yeah, and I think and the notes that you take, that's such an important thing to practice. It's so important to be able to take down, well, the most important things that you're going to need. You can't take down every word, of course not.
Yes.
But I think you're right. For those later questions, you can't just sit there and remember it all. I mean, maybe some students could, but I would say that most students, they'll need to take some kind of note. But I think it's different for different students. You know, how much you need to take, the kind of way that you summarize a note, and really for TOEFL or any exam or any lecture, it's just that, you know, most students, they know how to take notes, so I'm not going to tell people how to do that because it's really different for each one. But I think you're absolutely right that there's going to be some note taking in the speaking section, even just for that short amount of time, because it's so important to capture those key points so that we can produce a verbal report on what happened. You mentioned, and I want to focus today especially on questions 1 and 2. You said they're sort of more of a personal question. Now there's a difference between questions 1 and question 2.
Yes.
Can anyone tell me the difference between question 1 and 2? I think we're still with Gianfranco. What do you think, Gianfranco?
Question 1 asks you about to describe something.
Mm-hmm.
And question 2, you have to decide or choose between 2 options and explain the reason why you choose that option.
Very nicely put. I really like that. I really like that explanation. That's absolutely solid.
I have practiced.
Well, of course, but I appreciate you putting that in a very clear way for everybody here. So thank you for that. There's a way I think about the difference between questions 1 and 2. I mean, I agree with you 100%. The question 1, you know, question about you, and it could be, as you say, describe a favorite object or a favorite book, a favorite song, a trip that you want to go on. I mean, all kinds of things, of course, but something about you, something only the student can answer as well. And when I think about question 1, I imagine, let's see, question 1, I think about having a conversation with a friend, really. So I'm going to say that, like having, I'll put this in the chat box, having a conversation with, with a friend. Maybe, of course, it could, maybe it helps to think of maybe an older friend, who's asking you those kind of questions, who's saying, oh, and you know, your favorite subject at school, you know, what was that like, or what was your best friend like, or, you know, if you're going on a trip, who would you choose to take a trip around the world? Questions like that. So it's coming from a friend, but it's also maybe it's an older friend, maybe it's someone who you ask for advice, that kind of thing. Question 2, Gianfranco, you mentioned, and you're absolutely right, of course, they're going to ask you this time to make a choice, between 2 things, and perhaps something as simple as, do you like going out to eat at restaurants, or do you prefer eating in the comfort of your own home instead? Now, if they ask a question like that, if they say, okay, do you like restaurants or do you like eating at home, is there a correct answer to give to that? And we're thinking, okay, eating at restaurants, eating at home. Is eating at restaurants, is that a better answer?
No, both
No.
are correct.
I don't think.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Danny, did you want to tell me?
So I was thinking that there wasn't good answer because you can do both things. It depends.
Depends. It depends. Danny, exactly right. And it's so important with question 2 to remember that they're not. First of all, they're not looking for a correct answer, and 2, they don't care which one you choose. I mean, the examiner, I'm sure they're very nice people. Of course they are, and they want you to do well. But if you choose restaurants or eating at home, they don't care which one you choose. They care why, because that's the answer. You know, they're gonna think, well, okay, well, she picked restaurants, but why? I mean, is she telling me the reasons why? Is she giving me some good details to back up or reinforce that answer? So it's very much about the why. I mean, you need to know the what. Of course, you need to give a direct answer, first of all, to that question. And it could be, oh, well, I much prefer to eat at home for the following reasons, like that. So it's those following reasons that they're interested in terms of the detail and the information that you're going to be giving. So yeah, and the truth is, of course, you know, maybe you prefer eating at home, but you might have a better answer for eating in restaurants. So why not choose that one? Choose the one that you can give the best answer to. I think most of the time it'll be the honest answer, just because that's a more natural. Yeah, you'll come up with the information more naturally. But if you find you're thinking of the other way, it doesn't matter. This is not an honesty test, and it's really they just want to make sure that you can describe things in a fluent, in a coherent way with good pronunciation and grammar and word choice and all those good things that they're looking for in an English proficiency, in an English competency exam. Absolutely. So question 1, having a conversation with a friend, that's how I like to imagine it. Question number 2, I think of it as a conversation with more than one friend. So perhaps you're having a discussion. It could be Saturday night, and we're thinking, well, where are we going to go? Where are we going to go for dinner? And then it's that kind of discussion or argument where you're thinking, well, do I like going out to restaurants or do I like eating at home? And that kind of language that you're going to need to maybe to persuade someone that they're better off coming home and eating eating in a shared house, or maybe we're better off, maybe the town that we're living in, well, there are some fantastic restaurants, so we should go out and try some of those. So question 1, maybe you're with an older friend having coffee or having a meal, and these questions are coming back and forth. With question 2, I see it much more with a group of friends and your own age, your own peer group, and it's a little more evenly balanced, and it's for you to persuade them of a point of view or a course of action. Yeah. So let me just type that in the box so we've got 1 and 2 together. Oops. There we go. We're going to do some practice. The last thing I need to know is the timing of these. We'll do question 1, and we're going to do some question 2 as well, I hope, today. How much time do you have to prepare when they give you the first question?
15 seconds.
Thank you very much, Gianfranco. Absolutely right. Okay, so you have a 15-second preparation time. Is that a lot of time?
Not really.
No, not really. No. But I have, yeah.
It's how depends on your preparing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think, and these questions for questions 1 and 2, I have to say, if they gave you 5 minutes, I don't know if that would help me. I think 15 seconds, because we know You could answer the question, maybe 2, maybe 3 details. Of course, it's a test. Why do they only give you 15 seconds? Why not give you a minute or 2? Why is the timing so short, do you think?
I think because they want you to be spontaneous. If you think too much the question, then you are just learning by saying something that you learn by heart.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think you're right. I think it helps your answer if there is some, as you say, some spontaneity, a natural feel to your answer. I think that's a fair point. They're also being very strict with the timing because they know when you get to United States or the UK and you're studying, maybe you're in a classroom or listening to a lecture or a professor, and he calls on you in class, because we know the American and British culture in academia is one where students are absolutely expected to ask questions and to give opinions, and give opinions with confidence as well. And sometimes you'll want to question the professor or the teacher. Sometimes you'll tell the professor that you don't agree. Of course, and that's expected. And that's part of the natural communicative approach to education in North America and Western Europe, certainly. Of course, if you disagree with the teacher, then you need to back that up. Of course you do. You can't just say, "Oh, I disagree," and that's it. You would have to give reasons why you have a different opinion. And sometimes you're not going to have much time to come up with your argument, and maybe 15 seconds, that could be a lot of time compared to what you have in a real university situation. So it's really a test of that, the test of your ability to come up with an argument, or just come up with a point of view, an opinion, or a short story to tell in an educational setting where there's not much time to prepare. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, you think that this short period of time before answer a question or preparing a dialogue, you think that is because they want to be more spontaneous, or they already suppose that you were preparing in the exam and you know how is the task, or you know?
Oh, I see. You think because perhaps people have learned all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and of course students do. They want to know the questions, and that they ask teachers, tell me all the questions, and I'll learn all the answers, and then I'll be okay. I don't think that's the greatest approach. And of course there is no mystery about the questions that they're going to ask. You can find those anywhere. No teacher has a secret supply. And I mention that because some teachers might suggest they have the special TOEFL questions. They don't. Anyone can find them. Any student can find a host of these questions.
Yes, no mystery.
There's no mystery. Of course, it's great to have them, but it's this idea. It's like thinking, oh, I found the TOEFL questions, and therefore I would be successful. If you have these questions, and then you put them in a drawer and you don't practice, it's no good. It's no good. You can't consume them. You can only practice with them. But of course, it's great. It's great to practice with those questions. To answer your question, I don't think I don't think the amount of time is related to TOEFL thinking, well, everybody knows the questions, so we need to shorten the time. I know that they believe that 15 seconds is an appropriate and challenging amount of time to prepare an answer. It's not impossible, right? We can do it, but but with English as a second language, that makes it difficult, and it's supposed to be difficult. This is not an easy exam. They're intentionally making it difficult. They want the best students, and they want students who have a good enough English and a good enough TOEFL preparation skills in order to be successful when they move on to to studying and doing their research in the United States and the UK. So they make it difficult. I mean, I would never say this is an easy exam, but we know with preparation and practice, you are always going to increase your you know, your ability to succeed at this. So, but a good question. I mean, the 15 seconds does seem kind of, you know, what's that for? But I think it's, I mean, they're just like the amount of speaking time. How much? So let's just quickly put in 15 seconds to prepare. How much time do you have to answer the question?
About 5 seconds.
45 seconds, yes.
45. I heard a 45, and that would be absolutely correct. Let me just type that in quickly. 45 seconds to answer. If you take, so you go 45 seconds to answer the question. If you take, what if you take 50 seconds to answer the question? What happens then?
You're screwed.
Well,
Really, I don't think it's a big deal that you take additional 5 seconds.
well, I mean, the additional 5 seconds, I mean, what happens to those 5 seconds?
The recording machine stops working, so those 5 seconds are impossible to be scored.
That's absolutely right. I mean, you know, in a TOEFL exam, you're going to be using, well, I think 99% of TOEFL students will take the IBT test, and so like the internet test, and so they're going to go to an examination center, and they won't be speaking to an examiner. They'll have the headphones and the microphone, and they'll get their questions, and well, they'll get everything from a computer screen. So it is timed by computer. So you can speak for 45 seconds, and they'll give you that amount of time. But after that point, that recording stops. So if you have not answered, if you haven't finished your answer, they'll cut you off. And it sounds like you haven't given a full answer because, well, you still had a few things you wanted to say. Of course, after you've recorded your spoken section, a human being will assess your answers. This is not done by robot or anything. They'll have a real person, and I think actually two people to assess your responses and give you a grade. But it's important to know, yes, in the TOEFL exam, it's you against a screen, and that's why it's also good to practice just you and a screen, you and recording your own voice so that you can hear it back. Because hey, when you're talking, it's very hard to judge your own English or any language if you're just speaking live. Much easier if you can record yourself. And I think anyone these days, anyone who owns a cell phone or a mobile phone, you should be able to record yourself. Anyone with a computer, and of course anyone who's in a verbaling class, you can definitely record yourself because you have the webcam, you have the microphone. So very good practice to record yourself. Very good practice to time yourself, the 15 seconds, 45 seconds. You have to be strict. Be strict with yourself about that timing so that you get good practice, that you get as natural practice as possible, the kind of pressure you'll be under in this TOEFL exam. So these are important things that you can do. Now I'm going to find some question ones to do. Let's see what we've got here.
While doing TOEFL exam, can you see the timer?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, because it's just as if you were doing, like when you're doing the reading section, you're going to see how much time you have, and you'll see, okay, because for example in the reading section, you know, you read the passage, answer the questions, and there are questions that maybe you think, oh, I need to skip that one. I'll do it later, and you can flag it. And then when you get to the last question, you can say, okay, I flagged those ones. I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to go back. So yes, I think so. I think there's a timing thing that you'll be able to keep an eye on. Yeah, and I certainly, when I practice with students, I make sure they can. I mean, in live classes, I can see, you know, they can see how much time I use my phone, or I use the laptop with a big, you know, you can use the second hand on your clock, of course, if you want to practice that way. All right. Well, we'll do a question, and I'll try, make sure as many of you have practice as possible. Oh, this one is a little relevant to what we were talking about before. Okay, I'm gonna give this question really to all of you. You can all take the 15 seconds to prepare, but I'll ask one student to give me their answer, and I'll let you know who that is. I won't just do it by random. Okay, so I'll put the question in the box. You'll get 15 seconds to prepare your answer, and then 45 seconds to give me your answer, and I'll try and make this a realistic TOEFL exam experience as I can. I won't be too robotic, hopefully, but you'll get the same amount of time. And then after you give me your answer, we can talk about that. Talk about the answer you give, the good things, the things you might want to work on, and then we can move on to the next one. Let me see. Well, Danny, you were first in the room. Danny, would you like to practice a question? Ah, very good. Okay, so Danny, this one is for you. I'm going to type it into the chat box. Of course, everybody, I encourage everybody to take those 15 seconds and think, okay, how would I answer this? You know, what's my answer and what are the details? But after 15 seconds, I'll call on Danny to give an answer. Okay, so let me put this in first of all, and I'll read it out as well, because in the exam you'll see it on the screen, and also you will you'll hear it as well in your headphones.
Okay.
So we'll do it both ways. Here we go. Oops. I think that worked. There we go. Danny, your question one is, where do you like to eat out? Describe the place and say why you like it most. I am going to give you 15 seconds preparation time. Your preparation time starts now.
Okay, I'm ready.
No, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait your 15 seconds.
I have to wait.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I think.
Because it just won't start until that time has elapsed. So there we go, 14, 15. Danny, please start your answer now.
Okay, the restaurant I prefer the most is placed in Verona. I like to go to a particular pizzeria where there are magnificent food, because I like the way they prepare pizza. It's different from other restaurants, because also the waiters are very funny, and you can eat in a relaxing place. And I like to go there with my friends, spend the weekend together, and so this is why it's my preferred restaurant there. Okay,
perfect. Thank you. Very nice. Very, very good timing, I have to say. That was around 45 seconds exactly. Danny, tell me first of all, is that question, and you know it's different for everyone, is that question an easy one or a difficult one for you?
It's middle difficult, because I have to think something that I really like and try to describe a place that that is here in a different way, but after this I think I can do this.
Okay, very good. And when I think, let's see, that question's okay. Where do you most like? Well, it seems I missed that word there. Where do you like where do you most like to go out to eat? And describe the place and tell me why it's your favorite. Did you answer the question?
I think yes, because I thought about a real place. I describe exactly the most place I like to eat. It's a particular question. They asked something very strictly. The most,
right. Yeah. It's. I mean, it is a very well, I don't know if it's a common question, but quite a classical question, really, when they ask about food or entertainment and travel, things like that. These things come up an awful lot. I'd agree with you. I think you definitely answered the question. I'm going to practice my listening here and to see if I got all the points. You mentioned the kind of restaurant. You said pizzeria. You talked about where it is. You said, I think, in Verona. And you gave, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 reasons why it was your favorite. You talked about the food, and you talked about magnificent food, and I like that. I like that adjective. It's an interesting describing word. Very, very important when we're describing things or telling a story to use to step up that level of English. Because of course, we can talk about times and think, okay, well, I was happy then, or oh, I was sad then. But it's not enough. We need to give a little bit more, so that the person listening has a clearer picture of how we felt and the circumstances and that kind of thing. So instead of sad, perhaps we're distraught or devastated or gutted. If we want to use a British English one, and instead of happy, we are excited or delighted or exhilarated, all kinds of things. So there are a lot of the more, and this is not really just a test on how let's learn a bunch of really big English words, but when we use those words in speech and when we clearly understand the use of those words, I think it definitely adds some character, some interest to an answer. So I like magnificent pizzas. I'm a big pizza fan as well.
Sorry, teacher, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And what about the pronunciation? What the vote? Because I needed to understand my level.
Well, I couldn't say. I'm not going to give you a TOEFL's score for that answer. But I think the pronunciation was pretty clear. And again, the way I do that is by checking to see, well, can I understand it, right? You talked about, I like the, so that, the pronunciation was pretty good. I mean, I think you can, you answered, I think you gave a pretty full answer in 45 seconds. Sometimes I think that the best way to practice in terms of if you're worried about pronunciation is to think, how fast am I giving an answer? And that's why it's so good to check the timing and also to record yourself, because especially in an exam situation, very, very easy to speak more quickly and more quickly. And of course, the faster you speak, the easier it is to mispronounce, and the harder it is to speak clearly. Of course, I mean, they're looking for a natural speed and they're looking for clear pronunciation. I thought your pronunciation was pretty good, but if you're worried about it, definitely have a think about, well, how much time do I have? What's a good natural speed? And they believe, the TOEFL examiners say, okay, well, 45 seconds, that's enough time really to give maybe 5 to 7 sentences, because you answer the question and then you say, well, I've gone for 2 or 3 reasons. Here they are reasons 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. Here's some other details, and maybe you finish off with a, and that's why that's my favorite restaurant. It's okay if you don't. It's not a huge deal, but if you have those 3 seconds at the end, you can do that. I liked your detail about the waiters and how they were funny, and that was part of enjoying the meal. And also, you mentioned this at the end, and that's fine. But I think it was very important for you to say, to give some circumstances, sort of a surrounding around your answer. And I mean, for example, if we talk about a pizzeria, well, you mentioned where it is, very important. I would also like to hear, well, how often do you go, and who do you go with? And you mentioned that at the end. You said, okay, well, that's a place I like to go with my friends, so we can relax together. And I think those are very important details. I always believe in a question like this. For question 1, of course, you need to give 2 or 3 reasons why, but also right at the beginning, I know we talked about this in a previous class, but if your favorite place to go to on the weekend is the swimming pool or a tennis court, then we need to say where that is. How do you get there? Who do you go with? How often? And then, oh, and it's my favorite place for 2 reasons, for 3 reasons, and bang, bang, here they are. So it's good to describe what you're talking about, again, because that's part of giving a clear picture for people. So they know, oh, it's okay. So was it at a big restaurant? Is it a chain restaurant? Is it expensive? Is it cheap? What are the prices like? Is there a lot of variety? I know you can't talk about all these things in a short amount of time, but a couple of things just to give a clear picture. But having said that, Danny, I thought you gave a good answer. Yeah, I thought you gave some, and because you answered the question, and you gave some very clear reasons as to why you chose that answer. So I think that was really well done, and also you finished within the time. I didn't have to cut you off. You were pretty much 45 seconds on the dot. So that was really good. Well done with that. Yeah. Well, Diego, you're next on the list. Would you like to answer a question?
Yes, the same question.
No, a different question. No, that's far too easy. I need to give you a different one. Are you happy to do that? Like a second question?
Okay.
Great. I am going to again put it in the chat box. There we go. Oh, and I'm always interested in the answers to this one. I think it's a very interesting question. Okay, so here it goes. I'm going to put it in the chat box. Again, I would encourage everybody to have a think. What would I say to this? The details, explanations. I'll give Diego 15 seconds, and everyone 15 seconds to prepare. But then I'll call on Diego to give me his answer, and then again we can take a look at that. So here's our question. Yes, the question is: talk about an important national holiday in your home country. Describe it and explain why it is so important. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds start now.
Okay.
Okay, Diego, please begin your answer now.
Well, a very important date here in Argentina is the Teachers' Day. It's good because I haven't heard nothing about TOEFL exam, so I am imagining what you're talking to me. So it's a very important date. It's in the 21st of September, and we celebrate the passed away of our best teacher, who is called Sarmiento. And well, we don't go to classes, and also we celebrate spring, and well, we remember some
okay, well that's good. Thank you, Diego. I don't mean to be rude, but I'll cut you off after 45, just so you think. Okay, oh that's 45 seconds.
Okay.
But so some very interesting things in your answer, though. I didn't even know. I didn't know about this holiday. That just see, I get to learn cool things when I ask that question. Diego, first of all, is that an easy question for you or a difficult question for you?
First, I didn't know the concept of the question, an important national holiday, because I know holiday in another sense. Okay.
Okay.
But well, I tried to answer. Okay.
Okay, and that's a good point. I mean, the sense of a national holiday, we could also call that a public holiday, and we're thinking about a holiday where, well, I think it can be open to interpretation, but it really is going to be something where the whole country is aware of it, and where where a lot of things are going on. And you're right, that's going to be different in different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is, I mean, you answered it in terms of your home country, and I know sometimes students, especially if they're studying in the United States, of course, they'll say, "Oh, the 4th of July," but because they're thinking, "Oh, well, they want an American answer," but not at all, not at all. The examiners are looking; they want, I mean, because it's about you. Right, it's a question one, so that was absolutely right to talk about your home country and a holiday.
Okay.
Now let's see. You mentioned okay, and we've got Teachers' Day. You gave the name of the holiday. You gave the date. You also was it Fermiento? Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a very good thing. I say that for TOEFL or for IELTS. If it has a specific, first language name, and just like if you have to talk about someone, with a Spanish name or whatever these things are, it's good to give that, right? And then if there's a translation, then you give that as well. But you can give both things because that's part of how you would explain it. Right? There's no rule to say you can't use any words in a first language when it's appropriate. Well, of course you do that. You went on to talk about the kinds of things that happen on that day. I think it would be important to structure that in a way. Tell me, I mean, when you've got 15 seconds, how much of that time do you think were you thinking? What answer am I going to give? Was that quite a lot of time you had to spend doing that?
No. First of all, I thought to talk about our Independence Day, which is the 9th of July.
Okay.
But I thought to speak different words difficult to me to explain in English. So
sure.
Then. I changed to the Teachers' Day because it's easier.
And that's a pretty good reason to choose an answer. Yeah.
Yes, all in 50 seconds.
And let's remind ourselves. Let's see that question again. Well, there it is. Yes, an important national holiday. So you've got some choices there, and I think that's a wonderful example, Diego, of thinking. Well, I could give this answer, but no, that sounds difficult. Okay, this one. Okay, I can talk about this one. So you have to be sensible. You have to be strategic about the answers that you give, and think about, well, what can I talk about here? What's going to be the easiest response for me? Where's the one where I have the most vocabulary, or the one I know the most about, maybe, and I can talk about it. So I think you ran out of time, but you were starting to talk about sort of what happens during that day, and you were giving me some details, and of course that's what you have to do. And if you think about that question and want to think about and practice it another time, it's worth thinking about. Okay. What does the structure to my answer look like? What are the 2 or 3 very clear examples or reasons why? And then the details beneath those. You can sort of wrap it all together. And that's really hard to do the very first time you see a question. Sometimes that can be very difficult. But the more you practice of these, the more you'll be comfortable and familiar with the structure of your answers. So that even if you get a question in the TOEFL exam where you think, oh, I never heard that one before, you have a much better chance of answering it successfully. Because yes, of course, there's content that you need, but you also need to be able to structure this clearly. And again, that's just a test of the way they would expect you as a student to respond to things in a North American university or college as well. So. But hey, that was a very good first answer, Diego. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks for the devotion.
Oh, not at all, not at all. I think Gianfranco, you told me all kinds of things today, and I know you've got something coming up. Would you like to practice one with us?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, let me find. We're doing this class, by the way, on Wednesday as well. We'll move on to question 2 of the TOEFL exam. But I mean, but for right now, we'll stick with question 1. I wasn't going to switch it on you just for the shock. So still question 1, but on Wednesday we'll move on to question 2. Absolutely. Okay. Let's do this one. I'm going to put this one in the chat box. Again, 45. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Let me get that right. 15 seconds preparation time, and please, everybody, have a think. Have a think for those 15 seconds. If you want to take a note, absolutely. And then I'll call on Gianfranco to give me his answer. So let me paste in the question. Okay, and here we go. So your question, what is your favorite book or movie? Describe it and say why it is your favorite. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, please begin your answer now.
My favorite movie is The Mummy 1. I really enjoy watching that movie because it is really fun and also covers two aspects of a movie that I really enjoy. One of those aspects is adventure. People in that movie explore unknown places from the ancient Egypt, and also it has a lot of action. So the main character had to defeat the mummy and also fight against the mummy. Mm-hmm. So for those reasons, I really enjoy the Mummy movie, and that's my favorite movie also.
Okay. Thanks, Gianfranco. Very nice. There's your 45 seconds. Okay, good job. What do you think? Is it that kind of question? Is that? I mean, say when you take that exam and a question like that comes up, are you happy or are you not happy? Is it easy or hard?
In my personal opinion, all those questions are difficult for me.
Why are those ones difficult?
Because all of them take me by surprise. I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know why.
Okay. Well, tell me then.
They are supposed to be easy.
Well, no, not at all. I just think that they're quite common and quite classical questions. If someone asked me, oh, what did they ask for question one, I'd say, oh, okay, favorite book, favorite movie, that kind of thing. That doesn't mean that it's easy. Some people just don't. I know lots of people who don't have a favorite movie or a favorite piece of music, so it's quite challenging for them to answer it, because of course normally you want to give an honest answer, and if you have to make something up, well, that's a little harder. Okay, well, if we think about the question, book or movie, describe it, say why it's your favorite. Did you answer that question?
Partially, maybe.
No, I think you completely answered it. Because let's see, you said because describe what is your favorite book? You told us. Describe it and say why it's your favorite. You told us those things as well. So a direct answer. Well, are there other things you could add to that answer? Well, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. Yes. Well, let's. But when I was listening, I got a lot of details for you. I got some really nice, sophisticated English as well. I couldn't even write it fast enough to take some of those points down.
Thank you.
You talked about let's see, exploring unknown places. Civilizations, things like that. You gave 2 or 3 reasons why it was your favorite. You said it was fun, talked about the adventure, lots of action, and you framed your answer, I think, very nicely, because you used also, in terms of listing things, and also a very nice way to end it. Oh, and so for those reasons. So I love so for those reasons. A very nice way to sort of say, okay, and there we have it. And it's a great way of saying, I didn't run out of time. That's it's like that's my answer. So a very nice way to finish or close your response to that question. So some good details. Again, I think you could make it even better by making that structure even clearer. And again, at the beginning, I think it's worth. I mean, you mentioned the name of the movie, and that's fine. Maybe you mention an actor. Maybe you mention, when it. You may have said that.
I mentioned the main character.
Okay, I think in terms of saying, the year, maybe the year it came out, or roughly, And also, if you could say, oh, I've seen it 100 times, or I love watching this with my family, for example, or with my friends. Something just again to give that detail around it. That would be great.
So a conclusion from your advices is that I have to create a little context at the beginning.
Yeah, and we mean a little bit. It could be a sentence or 2 sentences, but I think that's a great way. I mean, in really a professional way to answer these questions, and that could be for a swimming pool or a favorite movie or a favorite restaurant. Just say where it is or when it happened, that kind of thing. But your description of the movie and why you liked it, that was really good. And of course, that's the most important part, because that's what they're asking, right? They're saying, why is it your favorite? Describe it. So I think your why is your favorite part, that was really good. That was really good, Gianfranco. So
thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Thanks to everyone. I'm sorry for the ones who didn't get to practice one-on-one today. I'm going to come back and do this again on Wednesday. So Wednesday at the same time, more TOEFL speaking practice, and we're going to concentrate on question number 2 that time. So I hope to see you again there. Thank you so much for your answers and for your conversations and your contributions. It was really great to hear you all today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thanks everyone. I'll see you again.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, thanks a lot. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.